You know, I'm not surprised to hear this news. I'm not surprised at all. Do I like it? No. Is this bad for American consumers? Yes. Was this necessary? No. Why? Well, a year ago, this was necessary. When I was going on about this issue a year ago, and it appeared as though no one was listening to me, then it was necessary. Now it's just the wrong decision. It's that simple. This is going to simply increase the cost of electric vehicles in the United States, in Canada, probably in Mexico as well. And in my opinion, I think it's a bad move. And this puts Ford in a precarious position. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. My name's Sam Evans. And as you know, I go on about lithium iron phosphate batteries a lot for damn good reason. Do you honestly think Tesla would have made even a single dollar of profit if they hadn't made their very genius, smart move that is being completely overlooked by automotive analysts, other CEOs from other automakers that think they're geniuses, but they're really not? The very genius move that Tesla made years ago, which was to sell predominantly lithium iron phosphate battery packs in their cars. You know how many warranty recalls Tesla have had for lithium iron phosphate battery packs? Yeah, it's about 10 times less per car sold versus lithium ternary battery packs, meaning nickel-based chemistry packs that use cobalt, and they're more expensive. And you know what? You can't charge them to 100% and discharge them to zero without really damaging the battery. I mean, yeah, you can, but if you do it a lot, you are going to damage your battery pack. Lithium iron phosphate cells are cheaper. They're simpler to manufacture. They require no expensive minerals like cobalt, nickel, aluminium, or even manganese. And frankly, I've been saying for a long time, if manufacturers don't choose to use them, they are in trouble. And guess who believes me? Guess who agrees? Ford. That's who. Ford were like, you know what? We need to start doing this. In fact, Ford's CEO Jim Farley even mentioned this a few months ago. He mentioned Ford was wanting to do this, go down this route. So what does Ford do? Gets on the phone, calls up the biggest manufacturer in the world of lithium iron phosphate batteries. Now, yes, they're probably pretty close now to BYD. They're still first though. So Ford goes, well, you know what? We need them. That's how Tesla makes a profit. Yes, they have other things they do. They spend no money on marketing. They have gigacastings. There's all these other things, yes. But that's the key reason. The most expensive part of the car is the battery pack. Tesla knew that and they pivoted. And for some retarded reason, which I still cannot comprehend to this day, no other manufacturer outside of China has done this. That doesn't make sense. It's so strange. Well, Ford went, you know what? We're going to be second. Genius move forward. But now the United States government is blocking them. Now, officially, this is not officially the United States government, but officially or unofficially, we know it's the United States government. Now, I would have actually agreed with the US government a year ago when things were looking incredibly dire for the auto market in the United States. It was losing market share. It was basically a dying industry, which was about to be disrupted and just chopped off at the neck. It just would have been like a headless chicken running around for a while until it eventually just gave up the ghost and died. This was a big problem. All of that changed. All of that changed big time. We've seen nearly $100 billion committed to investing into manufacturing of electric vehicles in North America. Now, the IRA came out and said, well, you have to make your EVs in the US to qualify. Then they changed their mind, saying it's all right, you can make them in Mexico, Canada, South Korea, wherever you want. Doesn't matter, Europe, there too, yeah, whatever. That, in my opinion, is the real problem, because that means they didn't stand behind what they said they were going to do. And then they went and said, you know what? We're afraid of China. And I get that. But all of this wouldn't be necessary if the IRA, if the government had have stuck to their guns and done what they said they would do. This would have ensured electric vehicle manufacturing was stable and secure, and the automotive industry was protected in the United States. They didn't do that, and now they're afraid of China. They're afraid that Ford will secure masses of affordable lithium iron phosphate batteries from CATL, so they just poo-pooed the deal, said no, Ford, because we're afraid. And frankly, I don't like it when people, businesses, companies, governments, myself, I don't like it when anyone makes a decision based out of fear. It's rarely the right decision. This decision will absolutely cost you. If you live in the US, if you live in Canada, if you live in Mexico, it will cost you money. There's no question about that. This means mass manufacturing of lithium iron phosphate batteries is going to be massively, enormously dampened. I mean, if CATL are already being rejected by the government right now, even though this was going to be a joint partnership with Ford, do you think any other mass manufacturers of lithium iron phosphate batteries are going to go, hey, let's give that a shot in the US? Well, it's very clear what the US government thinks about that. It's very clear they've said no. Doesn't matter if you partner with one of our auto companies, doesn't matter. The answer is just a flat no. Now, officially, this is the news, right? You can't listen to this stuff and take it seriously. Virginia has rejected Ford's battery plant investment over CATL's CCP ties. $3.6 billion, need I remind you. CATL battery cell joint venture would have created about 2,500 jobs. That's American jobs, not Chinese jobs. Need I remind you of that too. In one of the poorest parts of Virginia. Right? This was going to be an enormous economic boon. It would have brought down the prices of Ford's electric cars, enabled them to actually make a profit. Do you see a pathway of Ford making a profit from EVs, making millions of them every year? If you do, you're a genius, and you need to let us all know what that pathway is. You know what? If you've got a low IQ, don't even bother because we don't want to read it. But if you are really a genius, please let us know what is Ford's pathway to actually making vehicles, right, with enormous battery packs that are very heavy, that use ternary batteries, nickel-based chemistry batteries with cobalt in them. Tell me how exactly is Ford going to make those affordably? Yeah, I really don't understand. Now, Ford made the right decision here. They wanted to do something which was the right decision. Ford weren't saying, you know what, we're just going to import. They could have done this. We're going to import billions of dollars of batteries straight from China, lithium iron phosphate batteries, sodium batteries, whatever, combination of those two. We're going to import millions of those. We're going to sell those in the US. Too bad, so sad. That's what we're going to do. We'll make sure the rest of the car is made in the US, put together in the US, put together in Mexico, I don't know, Canada, wherever. Qualifies for probably most of the EV incentives doing that anyway. Now, Ford didn't do that. They did the right thing here. And still, the Virginia lawmakers said no. Do you think it was really the state of Virginia who need cash for their poor citizens living in this particular area, a very poor community? Absolutely not. Now, the states of Michigan and Virginia were listed as favorites to host the new facility, but it looks like the old Dominion voluntarily dropped out of the race. Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin, who was a potential Republican candidate for the office of US President in 2024, rejected the $3.6 billion investment because it involved a partnership with China's CATL. Now, obviously, Tesla used CATL batteries. In fact, I believe about 60% of the cars Tesla sell worldwide use CATL batteries, or it's very close to that number anyway. In a statement to the Detroit News, Glenn Youngkin, spokesperson Macaulay Porter, said the project was refused because CATL had ties to the Chinese Communist Party. Now, the proposal was rejected in December, but the decision will cost the poorest parts of Virginia probably around 10,000 jobs. Now, remember, in the automotive industry, when you have direct jobs, generally there's a 10-to-1 ratio. One direct job equals 10 indirect jobs. So I'm just making this sound very conservative. One job versus 3 indirect jobs, 1 to 3. That's 10,000 jobs. That's a lot of jobs. That's a lot of economic output that would have come to the state of Virginia, which won't because, well, politics. Now, sure, you may disagree with me that this US government was involved. I personally don't think there's much of a difference between red and blue, but I'm naive. I'm an Australian, right? What would I know? What would I know about politics? Well, for those of you who don't know, I used to be the Prime Minister of Australia. No, just kidding. I was never the Prime Minister. I would never do that job. Imagine that. That would be hell. Imagine being the president of a country. That would suck. All the political games you'd have to play. It would be a horrendous job to have. Unless you're a total egomaniac. But, no presidents are egomaniacs these days, are they? Anyhow, let's get back to the point here. The plant would have produced CATL's lithium iron phosphate batteries. It's been confirmed. That's what they said. That's what Ford even said. After the automaker said it would add LFP battery cells to its portfolio to reduce its reliance on battery minerals such as nickel and cobalt and reduce its costs and make batteries that last longer and to have less warranty costs, because Ford is a basket case for warranty costs. It has more cost per car on warranties than any other manufacturer in the world. It leads the world every year for the last 10 years. Well, no, actually, that's not true. Volkswagen took the cake for a couple of years because of all the fines they had to pay, all the fines and recalls they had to do after the Dieselgate scandal. Now, Ford said previously that CATL would supply full LFP battery packs in the electric Mustang Mach-E in North America starting this year, and the Ford F-150 Lightning electric pickup truck from 2024. Now, Ford apparently is now saying, well, okay, we lost here, we'll try in some other states. I don't think it's going to change. I really don't think so. I think this is big government getting involved here, saying no to China. And if you don't believe me, you should read what Joe Biden has said about BYD. The guy just wrote BYD off. He said that they were basically the Communist Party incarnate. They were bad. We should get rid of them. This was years ago. This was well before any of us had even heard of BYD. And I think, to be honest, he's just representative of most people in politics. There is this US versus China thing. It's not really good for anyone. We need to get rid of the US versus China thing. Now, yes, we should support manufacturing in the US, but this will only hurt customers in the US. It won't benefit them. At least that's what I think. But let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching.